Hey everybody, this is Sherry with CPR, Craft, Pray, Repeat, and I'm going to start off the video by showing you what we use so that we can make this card right here. And I absolutely love how the card turned out. It was a quick and simple Valentine that anybody can make. So let me show you what I used. I used this Sweetheart Punch from Stampin' Up. Now, if you have a heart die, any heart punch, anything, you don't have to have this exact one to make this card work. Now, I use these border dies from Scrappiness, and I use this one right here. I love the stitching on them and the scallop. I love that. And then I also use this Gina Marie die, this basket die from Scrappiness as well. I love this die. I have used this for a spring card where I put flowers in here. I've used it for a Christmas card where I put pine and pine cones in here. And now I'm using it for a Valentine's Day card. So these are the main things that you need to make this card. The only other thing would be your paper trimmer so that you can cut down your cardstock. Alright, so let's get ready and we'll put this card together. We're going to start by taking the pieces of the basket die, and when you first cut it out it looks a little confusing and it can look intimidating, but it is super easy and all you have to do is weave it through. And I'll do it here on the camera or on the video with you so you'll see how quick and simple it goes together. So don't let it scare you when you first cut it out. Be brave, be strong, we can do this, we are crafters. And so I'm just taking and weaving it back and forth in between the strips to make like a lattice, like a basket would look like. And so it's not hard, and it just takes a little bit of time to get them in and out of the things, that's all. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, folks. You can do this. I love this die. I have used it for many things and already have my one of my Easter cards planned with it as well. So you can imagine how easily it would lend itself to an Easter card. So I'm just making sure I've got everything straight there. And I'm going to come in with my art glitter glue and just glue down the top and the bottom pieces so that things don't slide while I'm working on it. And it just, you know, this is just to make it a little more secure. I don't think you really need to do this because it is woven in there, so it's going to stay. But because I'm going to attach it to my sticky board and use my Copics to color it a little, I wanted to make sure that when I lifted it up off of here it didn't, you know, pull it apart. Which what I'm doing right now is completely optional. You don't have to do this part, but I've done this on all of the baskets I've colored, and all I'm doing is putting in the shadows, and that would be, you know, where the things that we wove together, where the one would go down under the next piece, that's where you'd put your shadows. So I start by putting them all on one side, and then I flip the basket, and then I put them on the other side. It just is an easier way for me to do it because I have like such a bad memory in my head. I'm like, did I do that one? You know, so it's easier for me to just kind of do it in steps, and then I don't mess up quite as often. And I'm telling you, I was up last night and I had went in, I laid down, and I was trying to think about how I was going to do this video today because I really do want to be on the Scrappiness design team, and so I'm nervous. And so I'm laying in bed and Mariah comes in and she's like, bad dream, had a bad dream. I was like, Mariah, you know, I had only been in bed for a few minutes and they were up watching movies. I was like, you have to go to sleep before you can have a bad dream. And so she looks at me and she says, since you up, since I was up, she wanted me to take her picture with her iPod. since you up, you know, I came in here because I had a bad dream, but since you up, you know, could you do this for me? I'm like, oh my golly, you know, and I was trying to lay in there and just kind of be inspired, you know, and work this out in my head, and nope, or I needed her picture taken, and that was very important at, you know, 9 o'clock at night. I was like, okay, apparently I'm taking pictures at 9, and I'm not laying in here working on my card mentally and trying to think about how I'm going to make this, you know, a really special card and show the folks at Cat Scrappiness what I have to offer to their team. And I hope that they can see I come offering a clean and simple style, and with a sense of humor, and a person who loves to share, you know, the things that happens in her family as well as in her crazy life. So I'm just trimming this piece down to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to use a A2 size top folding card base. I don't normally use top folding card bases, but I love it when I use their scalloped dies at the bottom. I absolutely love to use the top folding card bases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my top layer on, and I'm going to run it through my Big Shot. Now, I'm using 110 pound Recollections cardstock for the base and 110 pound red panel. So, I mean, there's a lot of paper there, a lot of thickness and bulk. So as I go to run it through, and I'm just going to put it down here and use some post-it tape to decide where I want it to be and hold it in place as I run it through. And all of the names of all of the products I use will come up on the screen for you to see, and they will also be linked in the description box. And so I run it through, and I run it through 4 times. I really don't think I had to. I think twice would have been fine, but because I did have so much weight there, I wanted to make sure it cut the first time. And look at that, it's just perfect. I absolutely love how it does that. And it just makes the bottom of your card look so pretty. Now here I use a punch, but I know now that Kat has a stitched scallop heart die in her store, and I think that would be much better for this because it would give you multiple sizes of hearts where I only had the one to work with. So if you're going to make this, I would definitely recommend, you know, going and checking out those heart dies, because they were really pretty, but 2, you'd have a little more option in sizes. And you'll notice when I put my glue on that I did not glue the top part of my basket. I left that open so I could slide my hearts in. So I'm going ahead and I put the first hearts down, and you know, this may seem a bit redundant, I don't know, but when I'm going to take and use another set of the hearts and pop them up, and if somebody looks underneath, I didn't want them to not see more hearts. So, you know, that's just how I do it. I mean, like I said, it may be redundant, and you know, you may not feel like you want to do that part, but I did. So I'm just going around the edges and inking the edges of my hearts, and I'm inking the edges of these because I collared and gave my basket the accents with the Copic markers. If you leave them plain, they look flat. You've got to do something to, if you want something to appear round, you darken the edges and leave the center lighter. So that's what I did. I put the darken and put the shadows on the basket, and I'm darkening and putting the shadows on the outside edges of the heart so that it gives it a more round appearance. And just finishing up there with the tattered rose, and I have the little mini cubes. I love those things, they're so easy to store. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull out my dimensionals, and I'm going to start putting my hearts back in, and I'm just lining everything back up, making sure I got it where I exactly need it to be, because once I get them down, I hate to have to try to pull them up, because you know, I mean, you can if you don't push down, but I always feel like I bend them and they look a little wonky, so I try to do it right the first time. I can tell you that I don't always do it right the first time, but I sure try. So I'm going to pull out that first pink heart, the darker one, and I'm going to glue it directly down. And then the other ones are going to be the ones that one goes above and then above in a tier system. And so I just glue that one down, and I make sure to line it up really well with the one beneath it. Put a little bit of glue on the edge because I want it to be flat where it goes into the basket, but lift it up on the inside. And then I push down, and I shouldn't have, because I still have to slide in my center heart. So I get that all slid in, and I was lucky I hadn't pushed it down yet, so it was easy to lift the dimensional off. Easy peasy. Just don't push until you're sure you got it where you want it, folks, because once you push, it's there. And there you can see the dimension whenever you hold it up directly, and look down under. And here I'm just using one of my jelly roll pens to just add a little hint. It's the Stardust glitter pen, to add just a little shimmer and hint of light. And I'm going to use a computer generated sentiment to go on the inside, and just get my ATG tape, tape that down, and close it up, and my card is done. And I hope that you see this is something that anyone can do, and I hope you give it a try. Remember to practice your CPR, craft, pray, repeat. Thanks for visiting me today, and happy crafting. Bye.